$87 billion stimulus legislation failed. Unemployment is still more than 8%. It's interesting to me because when I ask people on Facebook, because that's where I live all the time, but when I ask people on Facebook what they think about the economy and where things are at, I get a lot of different viewpoints. And what I hear from a lot of people is that it's not doing well. So your position, what do you think we need to do to get this economy back on track?
Well, the debt clock is approaching 16 trillion, and the biggest thing that, the biggest thing that we can do is provide jobs, once again, because we have so many people who are unemployed. We have, since 2007, I believe, we have 70% more people on food stamps. We are losing jobs to foreigners, not to foreigners, I mean foreign countries.
Right.
And the reason why is, we spoke about it a little bit earlier, is that because we are not competitive. We have the highest corporate income tax in the world, and just imagine if we can bring all those jobs back that left this great country, okay? People would be paying taxes. They would be paying into the system. They would not be taking from the system. And the best way to get that done, quite frankly, is to provide an environment where we can compete with the rest of the world. And so it's just not transpiring now.
And when you say, people would be paying into taxes, you're in no way advocating for raising taxes.
Oh my goodness, no. I mean, when I was mayor of Paradise Valley, it was really funny. We had a huge budget shortfall, and a lot of people, they came to me and they said, you have to raise taxes or you have to tap into your rainy day fund. And I said, it is not raining, so we're not going to do that. And I'm not going to raise taxes. So we ended up cutting our budget by 30%. We cut our staff by 29%. And that was very difficult, and it was painful to do. But we had to be good stewards. And that same mentality should be in the federal.
Thank you for saying that. I've told you, my story. I'm a single mom with two kids, and I work hard for what I have. And when times get tough, I look at my home and at our budget, and I say, okay, what things do we need to cut out? I don't look to, all right, who am I going to tax?
Yeah, exactly. We all do it, and the federal government should be no different whatsoever, and we're just not doing that. And I believe that when I get to Congress, I will stand up and say, we cannot tax our way into prosperity. We have to be good stewards. We have to reduce the debt, because future generations, they'll have to pay, and that's not good.
And I like that you touched on that, the fact that future generations, I think that there are some that have this mentality that, well, the debt, the 15 trillion debt doesn't affect me right now. But when you look at your kids.
Exactly right. Your kids, your grandkids. And, most parents, they want to leave something. They want their kids to be a lot better off. And the direction that we are going in this country, our kids will have to shoulder the bad mistakes. And that cannot happen. And that is another reason why I'm seeking the office. Because we are going in the wrong direction, and we cannot just, these stimulus plans, we've spent trillions of dollars, unemployment is exactly where it is, and it has increased. And so the best way to get the economy back on track is to create that fertile environment where corporations would like to come back here and get people back to work.
Right. I love that. Let's talk about, I want to talk about this. And since it's my show, we can.
All right, let's do it.
On your website, you have who all of your endorsements are. And as I was looking through who your endorsements are and who some of your, on your financial committee, as I was looking at it, this thought just struck me as, I recognize some of these names, I respect some of these names, but as a voter, why does this matter to me?
It matters a lot because, for example, I've been endorsed by former President George H.W. Bush, the father, and the guy is a statesman, and I am one of the few candidates that he has endorsed across the country, and that is, to me, that speaks volumes, because if he can trust me, and he sent me this great letter, and he said, you serve me well, and you will serve the people in Arizona's 9th Congressional district well too. That was phenomenal. And then we have people like Jerry Colangelo, and Trent Franks, Hugh Holman, the former mayor of Tempe, Jim Waring, who ran against me 2 years ago. And and he's out door knocking for me.
Really?
He's making phone calls for me. And in my congressional office right now, Hugh Holman, he is there phoning people. We have about 70 people who are just on the phones all day, dialing, trying to get the support for us. So, I mean, it is a phenomenal time for us.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that because, again, coming back to social media, I saw several people who I wasn't even connected with, but I saw that they were talking about and inviting people to come and participate in this phone bank. So with the phone call, what does it look like, the people that are making these phone calls?
Well, you have high school kids, you have seniors, and the first thing I did this morning, I got up, went to Costco, and bought about 80 Hebrew National hot dogs. So we'll be feeding them. So if you want a free hot dog, phone us up. Okay. But it is so much fun, and it's the power of it is that it is so generationally intertwined. We have 3 high school kids there. We have a lot of seniors there. We have a lot of baby boomers there, and they're all phoning because they believe, and they are not being paid. These are all volunteers. And 2 weeks ago, we had 40 people going door to door.
Wow.
In the heat. And it's just phenomenal. And they're wearing these shirts, which I'm going to give one to you, too.
Thank you. Thank you. No, when they're calling, who is it that they're calling?
Undecided voters and people who are early ballot voters also. So,
I had someone ask me about the do not call list. Does
Yes.
that apply to you when you're making these phone calls, or does it not?
well, it's kind of funny because some people, they'll say, "Would you stop calling my house? I'm sick and tired of these calls." And they go click. And so I said, "Okay, we will not call you back, but that list does not apply."
Oh, okay. And when they're having conversations with people, what does it look like? Like, what question are they getting? Questions about who you are, what you stand for?
Yeah, all the time. And they say, "Well, what is he going to do to help bring back jobs? What is he going to do about health care?" And Obamacare is a huge thing for a lot of people. And I tell people all the time, I said, "Look, we have to repeal it, but not just repeal it. We have to replace it." My wife, she had 3rd-stage breast cancer, and we lost the health coverage because it was almost $3,000 per month, and I could not afford that. So we had to buy basically catastrophic. And I'll never forget going to the doctor, and the doctor saying, "Well, you should do this test, and this test." And I said, "Look, doc, I'm paying for this." And he goes, "Well, you really don't need this test, or this test." And I said, "Well, then why did you prescribe it?" And he said, "Well, it's because I'm afraid of being sued."
Oh, my goodness.
So they're practicing defensive medicine, but we must take a look at health care. But before we can even do that, we have to talk about tort reform also. And there are a lot of things that I believe that we should do. We should be able to purchase health coverage across state lines.
And why is it that we're not able to right now? Is that because of regulations?
Yeah, basically. I mean, we have a huge lobby that prevents it. Imagine, if you could only buy your car insurance in the state of Arizona.
Okay.
It would be astronomical.
Right.
But you can shop. You can shop it. And so if you were able to purchase your health coverage across, you would be able to get the best price. You would be able to get the best treatment for yourselves. But so that's one thing that must change.
I've seen a lot of conversations about Obamacare, and people seem to think that this is going to be a fix. And as we talked about before the show, it's actually going to cost us a lot of money. So I'd really like for you to share some insight to that.
Without a doubt, the CBO, which is called the Congressional Budget Office, a nonpartisan group, they said that it would cost roughly $900 billion over the next 10 years. They came back just recently and said it's going to cost $1.72 trillion, and that is unacceptable. We should not have a federal bureaucracy telling us what to do and how to do it, because believe me, they'll start off saying you have to have health coverage, then the next thing they'll be saying is that you have to have this type food or you have to wait for this type service, and that is so un-American. It has been proven that this type of a healthcare system does not work, and but we do need healthcare reform, and it should be driven by the private sector. We should be able to purchase healthcare for our children up until the age of 26. I think that would be phenomenal because that's the most healthy segment of the population. And these kids, they think that they're invincible.
Right.
And so if we could purchase that for them, that'll drive down the risk pool and be able to purchase across state lines. And there are quite a few things like that that I believe that will reform healthcare without creating a federal bureaucracy.
Well, and I think we were all pretty surprised by the fact that the Supreme Court ruling. I really thought
it's a tax. It's going to be the biggest tax increase in history.
I was truly shocked by that, and I heard one radio host make the analogy that they can't tell you that you have to have a cell phone so that the police can track you if they need to, but yet they can tell you that you have to have insurance. I'm hearing from local business owners that are wanting to grow their business, but they don't know what going over that 50 employee is going to do to them.
That's huge, because never before in American history have we said that if you hire more than 50 people and they work more than 39 hours per week, that we're going to tax you.
Right.
So if you're that 52nd person, guess what? Or if you're number 51, 53, they're not going to hire you.
Right.
And so that's another job. It just devastates us,
It feels to me like the message is we're going to limit the amount of success that you can have.
Exactly.
That's the message that I'm hearing and feeling loud and clear, and I don't agree with that. I think that
it's un-American. It truly is. It is un-American, because never before have we said that we're going to destroy small business, and that's what's going to occur.
I see we have another caller. Joe, you have a call regarding gas prices? Maybe Joe? Did we lose Joe? I guess we lost Joe.
Joe, gas prices are too high. I'll tell you that right now, Joe.
And what does Congress have to do with gas prices?
Well, the president, for example, look, if Newt Gingrich, he said something, and he said that an American president should never have to bow to a Saudi king. And we have the largest oil reserve in the world, and we should tap into that, because guess what? It fuels trucks that carries products that, so we must drill now. If we don't drill now, we will continue to pay exorbitant prices.
What do you think the hesitation is? Why are we not doing that? Is it simply...
Well, we have a president that says that he's not going to do it. We have a Congress that says that they're not going to, encourage him to. But I can guarantee this. It would create jobs, and it would drive food prices down, gas prices down, and we can become a lot more competitive also in that realm. So
it sounds like the solution is getting the president out of the office. There we go. And making some changes in Congress.
And drill, baby, drill. That's what we're going to say.
Okay. All right. I guess we have Joe. We're going to go to a break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. We're going to find out if we covered Joe's question regarding gas prices. And we're also going to talk about immigration, because here in Arizona, that is a really, 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 really big topic. You're listening to The Social View. My guest, Vernon Parker. I'm Christina Wagner, and we are NBC 1260. We'll be back.